$700 billion. That's not just a number on a spreadsheet anymore. It's the sound of thousands of concrete mixers pouring foundations for the most expensive buildings ever constructed. For years, big tech played a simple game: buy back your own stock, make the price go up, and keep investors happy. But in 2024, the rules changed overnight. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta just pulled a collective $700 billion U-turn. They're stopping the buybacks and dumping every cent into physical, tangible AI infrastructure. It's the largest capital expenditure pivot in human history.
See, for a decade, these companies were capital light. They were software giants with high margins and low overhead. But AGI, artificial general intelligence, requires something software alone can't provide: massive physical power. They aren't just buying chips anymore. They are building entire cities dedicated to computation. We're talking about massive campuses that consume as much power as a small nation. And the leader of this pack? Amazon. Their plan is so ambitious, it's actually hard to wrap your head around the scale of it.
Amazon is planning to spend an eye-watering $200 billion over the next decade. That is more than the entire Apollo moon program cost, adjusted for inflation. They aren't just building warehouses anymore. They are building the foundation for the next century of the internet, and they're doing it at a speed that's never been seen before. But this isn't just about spending money. It's about a fundamental shift in what these companies actually are. They are becoming the world's new industrial titans. The arms race is no longer about who has the best app. It's about who has the most silicon and the most electricity. If you don't own the hardware, you don't own the future. Microsoft and Google are right behind them, pouring tens of billions into their own custom chips and proprietary data centers. They are trying to build a moat made of physical steel and silicon. But here's the part that's starting to worry people. This much construction requires a staggering amount of one specific thing: energy.
We are talking about a scale of power demand that the national grid wasn't designed to handle, and this is where the fascinating engineering challenges really begin. Lawmakers are already raising red flags. They're asking, can the grid actually support this, or are we heading toward a massive bottleneck? To understand how they're going to solve this, we have to look at the wild solutions they're coming up with. And trust me, it involves some very old tech making a very big comeback.
Think of a modern AI data center like a giant high-tech radiator. Every single calculation performed by an H100 GPU generates heat, a lot of it. When you have 100,000 of these chips in a single building, the heat becomes an existential engineering problem. You can't just use a few fans anymore. This is why big tech is now investing in massive liquid cooling systems and even building data centers in cold climates or underwater. They are fighting the laws of thermodynamics.
But heat is only half the battle. The real bottleneck is the sheer amount of raw electricity needed to keep those chips spinning 24/7. The demand is so high that Microsoft recently signed a deal to help restart a unit at 3 Mile Island. Yes, that 3 Mile Island. They need carbon-free, constant power, and nuclear is the only thing that fits the bill. Amazon followed suit, buying a data center campus directly connected to a nuclear plant in Pennsylvania. They are bypassing the public grid entirely to secure their energy future. This move to nuclear isn't just a trend, it's a necessity. Solar and wind are great, but AI doesn't sleep when the sun goes down or the wind stops blowing. Lawmakers in states like Virginia, which hosts the world's largest concentration of data centers, are getting nervous. They're seeing electricity demand projections that look like a vertical line. They have to balance the massive economic tax revenue from these data centers with the risk of straining the grid for everyone else. It's a high-stakes balancing act. And it's not just about the US. This is a global scramble. Google is building massive hubs in Malaysia and Finland, chasing both tax incentives and stable power sources. The engineering involved in these facilities is genuinely mind-blowing. We're talking about custom-designed power substations and proprietary cooling fluids that are more efficient than water. But as the physical costs soar, Wall Street is starting to ask a very uncomfortable question. When does all this spending actually start making money? The scale of this gamble is unprecedented. If they're right, they own the future of intelligence. If they're wrong, they've built the world's most expensive collection of empty warehouses. But the tech giants aren't blinking. They believe the path to AGI is paved with silicon and powered by atoms, and they are willing to bet their entire future on it. Now, we have to look at the market's reaction, because while the tech is fascinating, the financial volatility is reaching fever pitch. Wall Street is currently having a bit of a panic attack. For years, they loved big tech because it was a cash-generating machine that gave money back to shareholders. Now, that cash is being sucked into a giant black hole of capital expenditure. Investors are seeing the spending go up, but the immediate profits from AI aren't always matching the hype. This has created extreme volatility. One day, a company is an AI leader. The next, investors are punishing them for spending too much. It's a high-stakes game of show me the money.
But here's what the skeptics might be missing. This isn't just spending. It's building a moat that no startup could ever hope to cross. The cost of entry for frontier AI is now hundreds of billions. If you want to train the next generation of models, you need the compute. And right now, only 4 or 5 companies on Earth can afford to build it. This is a fundamental restructuring of the global economy. We are moving from the software is eating the world era to the compute is power era.
And the early results are actually starting to show. Microsoft's cloud revenue is growing, largely driven by AI demand. Meta is using AI to make their ad targeting more efficient than ever. The productivity gains are real. They're just happening inside the companies first. They are using their own AI to write code, manage logistics, and design new hardware. This is the flywheel effect. The more they spend on infrastructure, the faster they can develop the tools that make them more money, which they then spend on more infrastructure.
So, is this a bubble? Some experts say yes. They point to the massive gap between infrastructure spend and direct AI revenue. They worry we're building too much, too fast. But others argue that this is different from the dot-com bubble. Back then, companies were spending money they didn't have. Today, big tech is spending their own massive cash reserves. They aren't betting with borrowed money. They are betting with the profits of the most successful businesses in history. That changes the math entirely.
The $700 billion pivot is a signal that the era of easy growth is over. To win the next decade, you have to be willing to build the physical foundation of the future. Whether it's restarting nuclear plants or designing custom silicon, the giants are all in. They aren't just predicting the future, they are literally building it out of steel, glass, and atoms. And that is genuinely one of the most fascinating engineering and economic stories of our time. The only question left is, who will cross the finish line first?